right, y'all, we're about to go
There's
live.
Captain Cannabis is coming in. Hey, y'all,
Hey.
welcome. We are live on YouTube. It is July 30th, 2020. I am your host, Leah Laxton. I'm a native Kentuckian living in the great city of Austin, Texas, and got my three amazing co-hosts. I guess, Alex, we'll call you like guest slash co-host today. I've got Captain Cannabis, co-founder of Higher Ed Hemp Tours and co-host, Mr. Positivity.
Hello. Good to see y'all.
I've got our amazing producer, Cynthia Morales, and also co-host, co-founder as well. And we're super stoked to introduce our newest team member, Alex. Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
A familiar face you've seen around the hemp world before. And this week we're super stoked to have with us a very special guest, Paul from Ritter Spencer. You've probably definitely seen Paul cruising around the hallways at Texas Hemp Expo or one of the many events in the great state of Texas. So stoked to be here with you today. We've got some cool things to talk about. I think probably the rules coming out is what a lot of you are tuning in to hear about. But we want to get started with just kind of talking about how everybody got in the industry here, you know. Maybe, Paul, we can kind of start with you. What got you into the industry, and tell us a little bit about what you do at Ritter Spencer.
Right. So as you mentioned, Leah, I'm an associate attorney at Ritter Spencer PLLC, and we're based in Dallas, Texas, but we have clients all throughout Texas and even nationwide. And we essentially represent clients in the hemp industry, business industry. We do some trademark law, business law, and bankruptcy law. But we do have a primary focus on the hemp industry. We represent manufacturers, processors, retailers, really the whole gamut. And the way that I got into the industry was sheer interest and just not only with CBD and all the cannabinoids that present such positive benefits for consumers, but I really just had a strong faith and belief that the market for this industry would take off. And I'm really excited to be on the forefront of that in Texas. As you mentioned, the Texas Department of State Health Services published its rules recently, which will become effective on August 2nd. So exciting.
Couple days away.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that Saturday or let's see,
I believe
30-day Sunday. Yes. All right. So they're not taking the weekends off.
No.
It's going down on Sunday. That's awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you join us, Paul. We'll talk some more about the rules. Let's get over to Alex. Alex, tell us how you got into this amazing industry.
Wow. I had a friend that I had gone to high school with that had opened their own retail location. I said it was on the very forefront of CBD coming out. You know, not many people had even heard about CBD then. This was about a little over 3.5 years ago. And I said, I want in on that. And I did, and it just jumped for me. You know, I was connecting with people just on the forefront in a retail store, and then it turned into distribution and sales. And I met the community all around, you know, San Antonio, Austin, even reaching outside of the state. And it was just so much fun. You know, I attended many CBD expos, got to meet so many different brands, e-commerce, retailers, and I've just been going since, trekking through.
Yeah, one of the most connected people for sure here in the state of Texas, which is
Awesome.
amazing. And, you know, we were talking about events. We're going to talk about some virtual events later that we've been checking out. But I think both of you guys have done a great job networking at various events. Paul, I think we met you over at the Texas, or maybe we had met before. No, that was it. I think the Texas Hemp Expo. And Alex, I met you sort of through, well, you were working, but, you know, I know you guys were doing a ton of events as well, all over the country. Yeah. You've been to like the CBD expos. Have you done MJ BizCon too, either one of you?
Yeah, we did. I did go to that one as well.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm gonna miss this year. Not getting to check out and hang out because that is like the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's a really interesting place because you're sort of expecting like this stoner vibe or something, and you go in and it's all suits and ties and
Yep.
very professional. You know, so it's pretty cool to see the way that the industry's evolved that way for sure. So if you guys want to check out, I do highly recommend checking out Paul. You pretty much run this blog over here at Ritter Spencer too, right? I noticed you're one of the main contributors.
So between Chelsea Spencer, David Ritter, and myself, we update the blog very frequently. I'd say at least once a week. And like I said, this can be found at www.ritterspencer.com. And a few months ago, I published a blog on the DSHS proposed rules, and those two blogs. It's a blog series. Those go really in depth into the rules, and the one that we're on now, the DSHS final rules. This really just focuses on the slight modifications that they made between the proposed rules and the final rules. And when I say slight, I mean very slight because there were not changes made.
Not a whole lot of changes. And so this is a great place to go over and get yourself familiarized if you are a retailer. The manufacturing and distributor license is already out and available on the website, but the retail license, I guess, from what we're guessing, probably going to come out on the 2nd. I think it just says here it'll be available soon. So I think there was a little bit of confusion around that, you know, which one people are supposed to register for. All of those questions can be answered. Yeah. All those questions can be answered by an attorney like Paul that's licensed here in the state of Texas. They can help you out, walk you through it. But I think today it's kind of would be cool to focus on what this means for consumers. You know, probably they're going to see some confusing packaging. A lot of tea is going to be now available. Probably some displays are going to change, but also there's some positives in this for the consumer. So they really, they're going to get QR codes or some kind of link where they're going to get to see a lab report. So what do you guys think is that, are there any other positives that you can think of that are coming out with the rules, or how do you think that's going to impact consumer adoption? Do you think they're going to even understand maybe what that means, like what the QR code's for?
I'll just chime in and say that is a very good point. Texas is one of the strictest and most stringent states when it comes to packaging and labeling requirements. And a lot of companies might find that to be onerous, but consumers really should view that as a big positive. I mean, you can go on, as required by the rules, you can go on the manufacturer's website, you can go on the retailer's website, you can get all the information from what all goes into the product, how's it made. You can really find out everything you need to know so that you feel comfortable ingesting or applying whatever product that you may be purchasing. So to me, I think that Texas did do a good job in that regard to protect the consumers because certain states might be lacking or are just not there yet. But that's a common trend. You see these requirements in states such as Louisiana.
And it's good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
What we found is a lot of people are always asking. We even had some scientists ask us, "Oh, why are you guys doing this much detail? Why does the state want to do this?" And it's like because there's another there's other high THC hemp plants out there, and so we want the customer to know what they're getting, and it's not a bad thing. So it's really, I think it's great because it's teaching people to think.
And to pay attention to not just what's in it, but where it's coming from and the process too. I think we get very disconnected. The whole farm to table experience kind of gets lost for a lot of people, and so hopefully being able to see it now come to Texas we might be able to go and, you know, show people, hey, this is how it is and what this means, and being able to put it together, and not just view a lab report without knowing how to read it, what to say.
Yeah, for sure.
I
And I
totally agree
thought,
with that.
yeah, I thought even that the requirement for the manufacturer's name to be on it, which they clarified in the comments, like, no, that manufacturer name has to be on it. We don't care that about your white labeling issues. Like, we want to know who made this and where. And I think that's a total win for the consumer in a world where a large percentage of CBD products are white labeled and there's not a lot of difference. Then this is a way for the consumer to really identify that and what manufacturer they like the best.
That's the big clarification too, is what is the difference between a retail and a manufacturer and, you know, a processor. So a lot of retail don't understand that they are manufacturers. They are getting product and putting it in, you know, either separating it, or they themselves are bottling it or packaging it. And once you change that packaging, that's manufacturing. So it, you know, it has to really come down to talking to a legal counsel and having them sit down and explain, well, what do you do? Okay, this is where you fall under. You should buy this and get this license. You might need 2, 3. You don't know.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Speaking from coming on a retail side, seeing hundreds and hundreds of customers that would come in and say, hey, I bought this off Amazon, or I bought this from the store down the street. And they're like, I don't know what's in it. And I couldn't even tell them what was in it. You know, I couldn't even explain, you may have been taking bad CBD, or they'd come in and say, well, why isn't this working? Or, you know, there's so much positivity around having clarification in what is in your product, knowing exactly what ingredients, making sure there's no pesticides or heavy metals. I mean, all of those things are extremely important right now as people are jumping in the CBD industry and just trying to push out product. It's really going to change the way, kind of weed out those people that are in it for the quick buck. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think so.
And we don't want a cancer patient or, you know, someone else that's taking taking a CBD product that actually has cancer-causing ingredients in that. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize the FDA's allowed several ingredients that actually are known to cause cancer into products, and we have seen those in different products out there. And so that's the reason why if they have those chemicals in the products, they can't get verified with Hemp Tours.
Yeah, and so it's like definitely seeing the real list of ingredients that's in there, having labeling standards be required, and that now there's going to be enforcement on this. Now, how much enforcement is the question? With DSHS certainly has their hands full already with running, you know, the pandemic response and everything like that. So we'll see. And retailers, I guess, have 60 days to get licensed. But the manufacturers pretty much have to be licensed by Sunday, or at least in the process. And they do have to go get their background check done, fingerprints, all that good stuff. So they've got some work to get done real quick here over the next week and get that turned in, and then on to the retailers that will have a little bit more leeway. So I think probably what consumers could expect to see this weekend are a hell of a lot of pre-roll fire sales.
Which next week will be called tea bags.
Yes.
This is definitely the time we encourage everyone to check out our self-guided tour, because everybody that is on it is going to have sales going on right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We had the self-guided tour that launched last week. You can see it on Instagram, or you can go over to our website, upcoming tours, see all of our tour styles, click self-guided, put your info in here, and you're going to download the map. And you've got some really cool little spots here, a couple of restaurants, little ice cream shop. You go out to Dripping Springs and end out there at Trulevia, which is really close to Tejas Hemp. If you cruise right past their place, you can actually see the hemp field along the highway, which is pretty cool. And if you make all those stops, then take a picture at each location and email it to us, and you're going to get some cool swag like Hemp Tours hats, Hemp Tours shirts,
Awesome.
All kinds of cool swag that we've been collecting and waiting just for this self-guided tour. So
I want some of that. Oh, that's right.
yeah, no, you can't have it. We have to go do the tour. We're gonna drive through and check it out ourselves and do a little live streaming on it this weekend. So yeah, still plenty of cool places that you can check out, and I'm sure they're all anxiously awaiting getting their retail license so they can get legit too, which will be really fun and cool. But let's talk about some virtual events. Has anybody done anything cool recently? Been to any virtual events that really went like above and beyond?
Personally, I haven't.
I checked out let's see, where is it? It's called CannaCon. This was this week. This is the first one I actually paid for. I think it was like $30, $50. I was like, hey, I want to support it because, we're all eventually going to have to pay for events again somehow, or we're not going to have these great quality events happening. So it was pretty cool. I unfortunately today can't get logged back in though, so that kind of sucks. But other than that part, and I think they're going to have it like recorded. So it was kind of an interesting platform. It was, I'd say not maybe quite as smooth as the NOCO one. I really liked NOCO, the way the booths were set up and the interaction. But I think these are really a great place still to meet people for sure. A lot of them are linked to their LinkedIns. LinkedIn's been like on fire for the last several months, it seems like, specifically in cannabis. So it's a cool one to check out. We have, let's see, the one other one I like is this company, Bootleg Avocado. They're actually a restaurant consulting company. And I met Mario at a virtual event at one of the like speed networking events where they just throw you in the room and every 2 minutes you meet somebody new. Highly recommend those. Are really cool. I think Emerald X was the one that hosted the one that I met Mario at. But he's got these really cool webinars coming up on beverages, psychedelics. I think he had yesterday. So pretty interesting, really cool. And we're doing a little collab with him where we're going to feature some Texas-based brands and talk about food, edibles, how all of that deals, the hemp basically side of that, which I think that is one good thing, that our rules are fairly lenient or open to CBD and edibles, at least as long as it remains within the state of Texas. And of course, the FDA could trump that at any time, but at least it seems flexible here on the state viewpoint of it. Because it's like one of my favorite ways to consume.
Yeah, I mean, consumable really can mean a lot of things, So however you are intaking this, it really is going to depend on packaging and labeling and the experience that people have when they see the product and they relate to it. But it's going to be very interesting to see some of the products that are probably no longer going to be on the shelves here, and hopefully that's for the good.
Well, except that people will still purchase them online across the state lines, and then Texas loses out on that. Then our government will figure that out and go, oh, so we're losing money to other states.
Technically, they're supposed to be registered with Texas, right? If they want to sell hemp products.
From our understanding, out-of-state sellers will need to register with Texas because the distribution ban that's in place, which that's obviously the elephant in the room that I feel like will be discussed at length here, was that the DSHS rules, the final rules, did not change the retail and distribution ban on smokable hemp products.
Even though they heard a lot of people saying, hey guys, this is what people do. The medical doctors even say it's good. There's white papers on it, and it's sad, but they're just ignorant. They'll figure it out, don't you think, in time?
Yeah, well, this is going to be interesting too, because now we can't buy smokable, or at least advertise that smokable here, but if we want to purchase it online, technically they can't even sell it to us because in Texas you cannot sell smokable products. If so, they are registered with, they get a license in Texas. Can they even get a license in Texas if their products include smokable?
That's a good question.
Are they going to have to not sell smokables anymore, change that language too? And I mean, that's going to cause a lot of problems with interstate commerce. So,
hey, you just got louder. Yay.
Oh yeah, your sound. Yeah, and that's where you want to make an appointment with Ritter Spencer attorneys and find out
the details.
If you can sell in Texas or not. But that was a big bombshell too, actually, that we should talk about was, well, first of all, shout out to all the commenters. I think there was like over 1,600.
Right.
That's
1,600. I think it was 1,690.
I think there were way more comments than on the FDA open commenting, which was crazy. So Texans came out, shout out to everybody. And there were a lot of good questions that were addressed. I think one of my favorites was that was like 4 people said that you should just legalize marijuana. That was like their whole comment. And I love that they like addressed it. They were like, question, and their answer was like, we don't have the authority to do so, so that was hilarious. But one of the big questions was, is e-commerce a retailer? And straight up, they said yes. So if you're going to be selling in any way here, you need some sort of a license, is what.
So does that mean that as a consumer, I have to cross state lines, purchase smokable hemp, and bring it in? Is that even possible?
Not as a consumer. As a consumer, you can still purchase from out-of-state sellers and distributors. A consumer doesn't need a license of any sort, but retailers do. And an interesting issue that we had that wasn't sadly addressed was that brick and mortar retail stores, so for each facility annually, it must be registered with DSHS. So let's say you have 15 retail locations. Every single year you have to pay the $150 fee for that registration. So you're looking at $1,500 a year if you have, 10 retail locations. And
that's ridiculous.
Not only are you paying the fees, but you're having to deal with the hassle of the various, papers, documents, and everything that goes through that process. So
that's definitely a way to discourage franchise, or maybe pharmacies like CVS and stores like Walmart, and that they're all over. And if they're gonna want to sell it in every single shop, that means they gotta register.
Yeah, and the thing is and their business is set up in a way where they only need to make on a product maybe $30 or $150 within 1 month, but they have so many products, then that all adds up to $30,000 to $100,000 a month. And so for them to have these extra this extra cost put on them, if they're only selling 5 to 50 bottles a month, is that really a fair price for them to be charged? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the one good thing about it is, like here in Texas, we have Stripes that has CBD in every location. Is that the best place for a consumer to maybe experience CBD for the first time? I guess yes and no, because yes, in that the exposure to CBD, that's huge, right? Like that's probably the first place a lot of people have seen it. Like they hear the word and they walk in Stripes like, oh, wow, they have CBD here. But of course, they're not going to get the educational experience that you would get in a small retail shop where they're really getting like their questions answered about the endocannabinoid system, all sort of directed to the product that would fit them the best, full spectrum, broad spectrum isolate. So I think it's probably going to be a blow to those gas station style, the gas station distribution of CBD, which is sad that we're losing that flagship way to reach customers, but maybe for the consumer in the long run, better that they're going to have a more educated or educational interactive experience, I think. Overall. So I guess we'll see how it works out. Or maybe Stripes will just say screw it and get the licenses and pay that big license bill every year. Who knows? Depends on their sales volume of it, I guess.
And kind of going back to also another beneficial aspect for consumers regarding testing and on the manufacturer side, which is rare in Texas, is that DSHS is requiring testing for harmful pathogens as well, such as staph and E. coli. And this really goes above and beyond a lot of the requirements that even are imposed upon certain food manufacturers.
Mhm.
And so, yes, onerous for manufacturers, but since we're talking about benefits to consumers, obviously this is beneficial to consumers because you can take comfort in the fact that the state is putting and mandating more regulations on these manufacturers to ensure that their products are compliant and as healthy for you as they can be.
Yeah, there's such an importance on hemp for this type of testing for two reasons. One, you have a lot of new manufacturers inside of it that maybe have never dealt with, GMP practices or things like that before that'll have to up their game. And then also we know that hemp is an amazing plant for cleaning up the soil, which means this first grow in Texas, if that's not disposed of, or maybe they haven't tested the soil correctly, it's definitely a chance that it can have lead and other things in it. So this is good for the consumer that this is being required for sure.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think, the license has to be clearly posted. So as a consumer, look for that in the next, I guess, 60 days from now. So talking about like October, when you go in a store, you should see the license when you walk in. And if you don't, probably walk on back out.
Yeah,
And
both retailers and manufacturers have to have the certification in a conspicuous manner, which obviously goes to consumer benefits too.
Yeah, for sure. So it's an exciting time. I think probably for consumers, one of the confusing things will be figuring out how to read the lab reports, but what's being required, it sounds like, is like very clear Delta 9 percentage, the heavy metals, pesticides, and like Paul mentioned, other harmful bacterias and things like that. So I think it'll be fairly clear. I mean, I think our labs here in Texas, the ones licensed, are all working on trying to make that friendly for the consumer so that it's just, they can clearly see. I'm always annoyed at like some of the lab reports you see where it's not broken out by the serving size. And it's just like, this bottle has this amount, and you're like trying to do your own tare weight. Like, oh, let me dump it in here and see how much this weighs to figure out, I'm like, oh, why didn't you guys just do the unit size? It's so annoying, or the serving size.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
Definitely, when we were doing in-person tours, asking consumers these questions was so crucial when we would talk to actual labs and retail, because we would be like, hey, by the way, people don't even know about this. So, make sure to just ask them, what do you know about this product? What do you know about this? And from them, because not everybody wants to admit or accept that they don't know something. They might be like, oh, I already know exactly what I need, but there's different products and different things that we need to consider now, and it's available. So why not start learning and using it? That way, in the end, consumers will save more money instead of wasting it from using a product that, they're not reading how to dose correctly. They might be wasting it or it's really going to help them out. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the educated consumer, for sure. So has anybody gotten out to see, we were kind of talking about hemp growing here in Texas. Has anybody seen any hemp? Alex, Paul, have you guys been out to a hemp farm yet?
Not a farm. I have a couple old clients that I still follow very closely, and they're jumping in this growing game hard. They don't quite have that whole farm thing going, but they have 100 plants, 200 plants, but they're working it. They are taking it into their own hands to try and get the best, I guess is what they consider the best of the best that they are able to grow and manufacture and extract into different products that they will call theirs. So
that's really cool.
I have not, but kind of just thinking about it, thinking out loud, it's going to be interesting to see some of these enforcement mechanisms by the DSHS. I guess if the pandemic continues, how they conduct certain inspections, it makes you wonder if there's going to be required just virtual tours that they're going to have to walk representatives through. And that's going to be an awkward and kind of cumbersome process, but it's kind of seemed that like that's going to be how the first round of inspections will have to go. I mean, I don't really see things drastically changing within the next few months. So that could definitely be something to look out for.
That would be really interesting for sure. You're like, put the pre-rolls in the closet. they're on the Zooms. Yeah,
I
yeah.
had a question.
Yeah.
I had a question for Paul too, though, is what's your take on this, though, when it comes to, different officials have even said, well, hey, look, as long as it's not labeled as smokable, and, that's where everyone's like, oh, well, it's tea. You can make a delicious tea out of this product, right? So, but the question is, I mean, it doesn't seem too cool that they would want us to be dishonest. Yeah, I mean, what kind of a citizen do we have if all of our businesses are being told to be dishonest? I don't get that. What's your take on that?
Right, and I think that it's gonna be, unfortunately, I don't really know how much they foresaw this, because this was in the preamble in the Texas Register. I mean, it's not technically a part of the established rules, but it is in the preamble where they discuss it. The exact quote is, properly tested and labeled hemp flower marketed for use other than smoking, such as a tea or a food additive, does not fall under the retail ban. So as you said, I mean,
so they're asking us, they're literally asking manufacturers to be dishonest. And that's really weird to me, because what kind of citizen, if people that start to do something that's a little bit bad.
100% honest, because it can be used for this.
Right.
However,
and
I mean, we're gonna have to start teaching, the history of cannabis in Texas differently. Pre-2020, after 2020, back in the day, we used to smoke these, but now
and
sticks,
And I am not legally advising people to market that way, obviously, but
but what else can you do?
It's word for word what's there,
Right, because people are going to they're going to work with what they're given, and they've been given a loophole. They've been given a certain loophole that is going to have to just be dealt with. I mean, there's going to be fallout, whether it's going to be litigated eventually, or I mean, who knows? A consumer might have a bad product, or whatever the case may be. This really opens the door to certain issues that are not only possibly illegal down the line, but certainly unethical. So
I have a question for you, Paul. So what do you think the rate of them going around and saying, well, you're committing fraud to all these different retail locations? Do you think that that's going to be happening going around? Do you think they will start calling people frauds?
Fraudulent in the sense of, are we discussing
marketing? Like the loose flower, the smokable as tea.
I think just because these rules are new and go and become effective on August 2nd, I think there's going to be, and especially with the pandemic going on, it's going to be an interesting year just in general to get everyone's paperwork and everything in order. So it's going to be hard. It's hard to imagine that so many representatives will be out truly enforcing certain matters like that, especially kind of on the lower tier, you would think, because it's not technically a part of the rules. It wasn't established in the rules outside of the preamble. So I just feel like it's going to take a little bit longer for that enforcement mechanism to be in place. But I would say for retailers, obviously err on the safe side and just try not and just avoid this while you can. Certain things could be in the works so that the retail ban might alter in the upcoming future. So just try and be patient, and hopefully Texas will get itself aligned with other states in that regard.
And if you don't like it, we've got an amazing opportunity with the upcoming legislative session to get involved in it. And like Paul said, we don't know how much even of that might be virtual, but that kind of also might be a benefit to a consumer who maybe lives in Lubbock or lives in El Paso, and it was a long trek to get down here to Austin to advocate on behalf of what they believe in as far as any subject, but particularly cannabis and hemp. So now, depending on how this works out, they could be able to do some, virtual speaking during the legislative session. So we eagerly await, I guess, the schedule and how that's all going to happen to work out. And the organization that we see from the industry groups usually that get back together every 2 years, get ready for it. So it's going to be coming up really soon. I think it's going to be on top of us. So the rules are done. If you don't like them, be patient and get in there and advocate.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Say something. Do something.
right. Unfortunately, the comment period is closed. But as her sticker said, advocate. Yes.
Yes. So, say it. Do it. Swear it in.
That's it. We always say if you're going to complain about it, you better have a plan for how to fix it, for sure.
That's right.
I thought that Grace, our friend over at Texas CBD Blog, did a really great job on this Instagram post, kind of going through for consumers like what we've been talking about, just some of the things that they need to be aware of as far as things looking a little different. So if you are a consumer and you want kind of a rundown of what we've just been talking about, go over here and check out the Texas CBD blog and subscribe to her. She always has a lot of great consumer facing information.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she really is, always providing accurate info and helped us a lot with our website too. She's really awesome at the websites. Helped us tweak ours a little bit as well. So we love Grace. Be sure to go over there and check her out. Also wanted to announce that the Texas Cannabis Collective, they have released a new social media platform that they invited us to check out. And I think it's going to launch on Saturday. I'm not sure if you can.
You sure it's not Sunday? I'm kidding though, because
everything's on the 2nd. But you can request to join. I'm not sure if they'll let you in yet or not, but they will probably soon. And it's going to be basically a way to talk about advocacy inside of cannabis in the state of Texas and connect with like-minded people. They run a pretty popular Facebook group, and they're transitioning this sort of into an area with their own social site. Again, as I think we all are, trying to get out of Facebook's, rigorous over-policing of cannabis, in my opinion. It's
of a legal product. It's silly.
It's crazy that the things that do not get censored on Facebook and then the things that do have been quite surprising. And legal hemp is definitely one that they're not necessarily a big fan of. Granted, we know some of that is because we're all waiting on the FDA, right? We're waiting on federal everything, legalization of all cannabis and a ton of other things. So we understand why, but it's still super annoying, Facebook, because they could be here at the forefront advocating for our industry, and instead they're waiting and letting Washington sort of dictate to them what the agenda and narrative needs to be. So if you're farmer first, then you should be pro hemp, because we got all these farmers growing hemp. Like, where's it gonna go?
No one knows about it. The farm, we got thousands and hundreds of thousands of acres being grown by farmers. Who are they going to sell it to? Because the advertising doesn't work. It doesn't work the way it used to, 10 years ago. And this is because everyone has to advertise now on Facebook and on YouTube. Well, not YouTube's safe, but I'm saying that Instagram and what have you. It's like, how are we going to educate the people to buy our farmers' products? What do you think, Paul?
I'm sorry, could you, it,
Oh, I was just
okay.
saying that the farmers, you know, if no one is educated about the hemp, and we have hundreds of thousands of acres being grown by our farmers, who's going to buy it? Because the way we advertise, or maybe how we advertised 10, 20 years ago, we you know, it doesn't work anymore. What works in advertising now is Facebook and Instagram, and then
Right.
they have everyone's hands tied. So it's like all this plants being grown, but Facebook and whatever, Netflix, just kidding. No, what is it? You know,
Instagram,
Instagram,
Instagram.
the
Instagram.
socials, the
I mean,
Yeah,
socials.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very grassroots, literally plant,
yeah,
and we got
right.
everything
So,
grassroots with this.
I think
yeah. So
all
what do you think, Paul?
I think all forms of social media will be beneficial for advertising, but I think honestly platforms such as this and various other platforms within Texas just to get the word out, and it really will at least connect communities, and farmers can see and just list of participants and see who is joining these forums, and through these types of, because you know, with the pandemic, it's going to be hard to go to Texas hemp conventions or some of these bigger expos, which is such a great opportunity to get involved and meet other farmers or whatever the case may be. But so we really have to step up and just continue to advocate and bring everyone together within the Texas hemp industry on these types of forums and platforms.
Have you heard of
Yeah.
any ways of advertising?
Do I have any-
You know, for the retailer, you know, do you have any ideas? I mean, being a lawyer, have you heard of ways that people can advertise this legal plant, even though their hands are tied in the conventional ways right now? Do you have any advice on that?
I haven't seen like a commercial, I guess, per se, or something along those lines. But you know, as we start to get into this, and as we start to see the rules in place and being effective, it's going to be interesting to see certain bigger companies with franchises throughout Texas potentially advertise for CBD products. I mean, because they will have
Yeah.
the resources to. I think it comes down to resources. So I think that'll be a big component. But make sure for any type of advertisements, brochures, or anything you put out there, if you have the opportunity to get legal counsel for this, make sure to do so, because you don't want to be caught being non-compliant, whether it be for your marketing, or you just don't want to create red flags for yourself, especially when you're just taking off. I mean, in any aspect in general, but you want to get handcuffed before you get underway. And I don't mean handcuff literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Or do you? I think that it's always, especially in an industry like this, like in any small business, it makes you feel just much more relaxed, at least me personally, when you know that everything's been ran through an attorney. But in this industry, even more so, like you're going to sleep so much better at night. And we have such amazing cannabis attorneys here in the state of Texas, like you guys, that are leading the way and always willing to give advice, or this is not advice here, but give comments about these subjects. But for really, really you need brand specific advice when you're, to give you that peace of mind that you need, so that you know that you're being compliant. And it's not that much money, it's like an investment you just have to make in your business if you're serious about being in this industry, in my opinion, for sure.
And to have liability insurance.
Right.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But I loved your point, Paul, that it's forums like this that really are getting the message out. And Cynthia makes the point a lot that it starts inside our own homes and our own families, then our friend network, then our community. We've probably all dealt with this, where we have friends that ask us the funniest questions about CBD. Like they're texting just like, do I take this whole bottle? Or, like they just know you're in hemp. They've never supported anything that you've done to this point, but then they go in like a grocery store and buy lotion, and then they're like sending you the photo. Is this weed? I love it when people do that, because it means that they know they're thinking of who can answer this question. Like finally it got through to them. they've seen us live streaming on Facebook for weeks. They never maybe noticed or cared. Something then triggered them to go buy this product, try it, and then they at least were willing to reach out. So I'm sure we all here have had people reach out to us like that in that manner and ask ridiculous questions. Thank you. We enjoy that. It's funny. And yes, we laugh at you, friends, and we talk about you on the live stream behind your back. But the important thing is we enjoy it.
Part of the job.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I had the question here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, Jesse, and everybody else tuning in on YouTube, where you can drop your questions live. Jesse's comment was about the farmers of West Texas are struggling to get this off the ground due to the lack of financial availability for the banking industry. And that definitely has been an issue. We know even they've been dealing with, are they going to get the PPP loan or not? Are they eligible or not for the next stimulus? All of these sort of questions. And I guess there's actually a lawsuit in right now over the that cannabis businesses were deemed essential in many states, but then not given access to the PPP loans, which I mean, because it's not federally legal. It's like a very difficult, weird, situation. So look forward to kind of seeing how that works out and if that's recognized for sure. But I would say absolutely it's true. And that's what we keep saying. If you're really farmer first, then you will also allow the end of the supply chain to have access to marketing and banking and all of these things so that you can help that beginning of the supply chain that we know USDA is so concerned about. So awesome. Thanks for the comments. Please, everybody, keep the comments coming on YouTube and be sure to subscribe. We've been here on YouTube for about 5 weeks. And it's been really fun. So we're excited to build up the base here. Yay, St. May's watching on Instagram. You can also watch the feed on Instagram from the very choppy hand of Cynthia filming her computer. We don't know why you like to do it that way, but we're excited that you guys all do. And we assume that you're listening to audio only over there, but we do thank you very much. It'd be great if we had a way to split and go out to both. Technology hasn't made that possible yet, but we keep on working on innovative new ideas to get the message about hemp out there. So St. May commented on Instagram and was talking about cannabis biomass, recycled or reused. Can it be? Yeah, for sure. Alex and I talked to Derek Cross, who's like kind of an OG hemper, or not kind of, he is here in Dallas. I think we talked to him, was that yesterday, right, Alex? And he was showing us he makes hemp dog bedding or pet bedding. And it's super cool, a really innovative process. It's made in Canada right now and kind of working its way down. And he was talking about, of course, our friend Amos, who we love over at MJ's, who does shirts, who all of his packaging is made from hemp. So there certainly are ways that this biomass can be recycled and reused. Hemp here in Texas, obviously it gets trickier with over 0.3% THC in other states, but generally there's not a whole lot of stock or biomass left over in those cases, because it is a slightly different seed and plant that's being grown here for the biomass. Like the tall fiber hemp stalks that's outdoor grown is very different from like an indoor grown cannabis in size, in density, thickness, all the way around. So I think we will see it being reused like waste from outdoor grown hemp, but probably most of those products are going to come from hemp specifically grown for fiber, I think.
Which they'll even use males in that case. So you don't want your farm planted next to that if you're making flour.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely get pollinated for sure.
For sure. And I know that I haven't met any yet, but I know there was talk about a lot of farmers out in West Texas that were wanting to grow for fiber. And of course, Panda Biotech or Panda Bioscience, I think that's what they're called, the extractor that was going to go in Lubbock has just switched gears. And I guess they're looking at Wichita Falls now. They got a pretty nice little chunk of cash tax break there from Wichita Falls. So it'll be interesting to see if they get open, when they get open, kind of what happens with all this fiber. I think it's exciting. We just need more processing, obviously, here in the United States. That's why Derek was telling us that all their products are made in Canada for the moment, and then kind of hopefully going to move down this way. So super exciting stuff, guys, I think on the horizon. What would you say, as we kind of wrap up here, is one of the most exciting things that each of us is excited about for the next 90 days? We're in August, so August, September, October. I'm going to say for myself, I'm super excited about doing like Zoom Halloween. How's that going to work?
I saw somebody ask yesterday, and they put a poll on Facebook and said, how many people are going to take your kids trick-or-treating? I swear the first one that says, yes, I'm taking my kid trick-or-treating was the fullest bar on the poll. So nobody's worried about doing virtual. They're ready to get out of the house with these kids.
Oh no, I thought this was like my way to avoid the kids this year. No, just kidding. I actually love it. I love it. I love when the kids come by, give them the hemp candy. Just kidding. Don't ever do that, guys. Ever. No. Okay, how about Cynthia? What are you excited for in the next 90 days?
In the next 90 days, man, everything's changing. So it really is. I mean, both in all aspects of the world. I feel, next month we get different news. So
you're gonna wait. You're
great
on like
news
a wait.
coming.
You're September. That's maybe the only thing, but I mean,
Positive news, right?
Every day is I'm like, what's new today? What's new? What's the new law? What's the new regulation? What's the new dumb thing that's being said and believed?
That's very true.
I now feel like, I'm just going to pretend it's a surprise every day. Like,
Piece of candy.
Piece of candy.
Amazing.
Definitely. I don't know. It's hard. It's really up in the air. But, stuff that we're doing a lot of cool stuff virtually. So.
That's what I thought you were going to say next week's live stream. Gosh, I softballed it to you.
What's going on with next week's live stream?
I just said it's going to be, they're always exciting. I just thought in general it was like the highlight of your week, but I guess not.
I mean, yes. It really
Every day is.
It's the reason I wear jewelry every day.
It's the reason we wash our hair. What about you, Paul? Got anything exciting planned? Anything you're excited for in the next few months?
I mean, kind of jumping on Cynthia's point, I mean, since these rules are going to be effective starting August 2nd, there's just so much that's going to be up in the air. And, when things are up in the air, that's good for attorneys because we're going to have a lot of people coming to us with questions, and that's good. We're welcoming all questions. And also we have a podcast, Hemp Ain't Easy. And
yes, that's right.
So far, Chelsea, Spencer, and I have been doing that. We started that up, and we have 2 episodes out so far. The first one covers the 2014 Farm Bill. The second one is on the 2018 Farm Bill. Oh, great. Thank you. And some upcoming episodes we want to do are going to be about the Texas Department of Agriculture's regulations. So that'll be hopefully beneficial for our farmers listening and growers. And then we want to do USDA regs, FDA regs, and then of course DSHS regulations. So stay tuned for some more episodes on Hemp Ain't Easy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one where we got to learn about I guess I didn't enjoy this, it sounds terrible, but like you had kind of a crazy surgery at the beginning of all of the lockdown. And if you want to know more about that, you go listen to Hemp Ain't Easy. So I love y'all's interaction there. It's of course awesome. Super fun. And what's the best place for people to connect with you, Paul? Is that on LinkedIn or through the website?
Either LinkedIn or the website www.ritterspencer.com, and you can just go to attorneys, and through the attorneys you can contact any one of us. And there's
Wow, nice picture, dude.
Yeah, this is very like, this reminds me of Boston Legal so much.
Yeah.
That
Hey,
is
see,
an amazing.
not only one of the best hemp cannabis lawyers, but also, damn, guys, look at this. The judge is going to go for you every day.
This guy is a pro right here. Like this screams
Moneymaker.
professional.
We want
That
everyone
money
on
maker.
our side. Yes.
For sure. So y'all go follow Paul for sure on LinkedIn. Check out Ritter Spencer's blog, which is updated all the time and has amazing information. And then subscribe to the Hemp and Ain't Easy podcast. And Alex, anything you're excited for over the next few months?
Well, I guess I would say the next few days. I've really been preaching about regulation for a while now. So to see this go into play, super excited to see that play out. Also, just to see how these, retail e-commerce and distributors are going to take this smokable ban. And I'm excited to see how they're going to start marketing this and how it's going to really play out. I really hope Texas will hear us and our voices, because we need that. So fingers crossed that these next few months, everybody complies, doesn't make it too hard with the marketing ploys out there. We need to make it clean and show Texas that we're going to follow the rules, and hopefully they will hear us when we come back and say, we need to reevaluate this ban.
For sure. I love it. Very well said. And people can go follow you. Please go follow Alex at CBD_mama on Instagram. She's got some cool little hemp tours posts up here this week. I love it. And let's see, guys. Yeah, you can start the self-guided tour. It is out now. Go to our website to check that out and download that free tour map, or you can find it on our Instagram. I think it was posted last week there on Instagram. Captain Cannabis, any closing words for us?
Absolutely. What am I excited about the next 90 days? Oh my goodness. It's all happening, guys. I mean, we do have some rules. Okay. So they're not perfect, but they're made by people that had no clue. And guess what? If you're watching this program, you do have a lot of the people watching do have a clue about this product and how it's changing lives, helping children and everything. So, but the thing is we're finally here to a point where we're going to have something. And then now we learn more, and then we speak up and we talk to our local Congress people and let them know how ridiculously uneducated they were when they wrote these things. And
but
now
in a nice way.
Right,
Yes.
but don't do it mean. You're not fighting anymore, because now we got it. So now all we have to do is reach in, give them a big hug, and say, "Here, let me teach you a few," or share some things. So, but the next 90 days, you, Leah, and I are going to be traveling around in a hemp tours sprinter van across America, and we're going to be visiting with radio stations of every big city across America, and also whatever television morning show they'll have us on. And we're going to be sharing this and exciting people, because we want to help speed up the adoption curve, so that way not only our farmers here in Texas, but all the farmers across America will finally have a place to park and to sell this product to, because this is really crazy. But we're going to make it. It's all going to work out, guys.
Yeah, we're going to social distance our way across the country. So this is the last episode. I'll be broadcasting here from my office, because we won't have this house anymore as of next week. So we're super excited. That was going to be the surprise. That was going to be a surprise, but whatever. It's Captain Cannabis. He has the right to drop the surprise as he would like to. That is true. I did set that one up. So awesome, y'all. This has been absolutely fantastic. Paul, thank you so much for joining us, shedding light on the rules for consumers. Alex, we're so excited to have you as part of our team going on week 2. Whoop, whoop. It's going to be amazing. Captain Cannabis, awesome. We got to keep on packing. Cynthia, thank you for putting together today's episode. Oh, we didn't do the Spanish word of the day. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no!
¿Por
Should
qué
we?
no?
This is
Uh,
a
the por qué
quick
no?
one,
Why?
'cause
Let's do it real quick. Yeah.
I'm sure you all are gonna need it since you're gonna be traveling, and I'm sure you're going to South Texas and other places, or California.
True. Maybe some New Mexico.
Texas is
Yeah,
not
and then
allowed.
by August we have to be in Maine, or we're gonna go way up north. Yeah,
So let's
not
see
so
real
hot.
quick. So basically, today's word is gonna be slang word for marijuana. You know,
Marijuana.
Ah.
a lot of us know there's a
Marijuana.
ton of ways to say it in English, right? Well, there's also a lot of different ways to say it in Spanish. So big one is this one, marimba.
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 It
So
sounds like a dance.
anybody have some? It's not merengue.
That's rumba,
But yeah,
marimba.
but marimba, yeah. You know, other names: Maria Juana, Doña Maria, Mota. Yeah.
Mota, I've heard before.
Mota. I've heard mota.
Is that related to morta?
I hope not.
No.
So yeah, so now in case you hear marimba somewhere, you know
Like,
what
ooh.
you might smell some marimba, or you might.
Marimba.
Yeah.
And we can always be like, no, es cáñamo.
Hey, good job.
I used our last week's
Excelente.
word.
Cáñamo, right? You gotta go back
And
to that one. No.
¿Cómo se dice hemp tours in español?
Tours de cáñamo.
Tours de cáñamo.
Sí, no,
Nice.
No de marimba. No de marimba.
No de
No.
marimba.
No marimba
Not
here.
yet. It's
Muy
illegal.
bien.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we
Yay.
did it. Thanks,
We
everybody.
speak Spanish. Awesome.
For organizing this. I really appreciate y'all. And like I said, platforms like y'all are spreading the word. So keep up the great work. Really appreciate y'all having me on for this. Thank you all.
Thank
It's great seeing you,
Awesome.
Paul.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Paul.
coming.
Zach.
Yes.
Great to see y'all.
And we'll see everybody next
Bye.
See
Till
you
next
guys.
week.
Bye.
Peace.
Oh, where's the